While the world focused on Tesla, BYD was quietly building the future of transportation, and that future just arrived. There are moments when history doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't always come wrapped in dramatic press conferences or viral tweets. Sometimes, history arrives quietly, wrapped in precision, discipline, and a long game so calculated, you only realize what happened once the dust settles and everything looks different. That's exactly what we're witnessing right now with BYD. For years, the conversation around electric vehicles has been dominated by the familiar names, Tesla, of course, but also Volkswagen, Toyota, Ford, and the rest of the global auto elite. They had the spotlight, they shaped the narrative, but while they talked, BYD built. And now, after a stunning reveal from BYD's CEO, I can't help but sit up and look at the future of driving with fresh eyes. Because what BYD just unveiled isn't just a set of new technologies, it's a blueprint for a new era. One that feels smarter, safer, more efficient, and surprisingly reliable. This isn't just an automotive update, it's a revolution unfolding in real time, a company the world nearly ignored. When I first heard of BYD, I'll admit I didn't pay much attention. After all, how often do battery companies from China become global car powerhouses? It seemed improbable, even laughable a decade ago. Founded in 1995, BYD didn't even make cars at first. It specialized in rechargeable batteries, hardly the stuff of auto industry legends. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary was taking shape. In 2003, BYD entered the automotive market. At the time, the industry didn't flinch, but that was their mistake. Over the next 2 decades, BYD did something many legacy automakers didn't. They began planning for a future they could already see, a future powered by electricity, guided by intelligence, and scaled for the everyday person. And now, in 2025, BYD has become more than just a competitor. They're the pace setter, the 5th-generation hybrid system, a new benchmark for the world. At the center of BYD's reveal was something that stunned engineers, critics, and analysts alike, the company's 5th-generation DM, dual-mode hybrid engine. Now, I'm no mechanical engineer, but when I saw the numbers I paused. This engine achieves 46.06% thermal efficiency, the highest of any production gasoline engine on the planet. Let that sink in. For decades, we've accepted the idea that gas engines hover around 30 to 40% efficiency. That means most of the energy is wasted as heat. BYD has pushed those boundaries further than anyone else. The result, hybrid vehicles that can now travel up to 2,100 kilometers, over 1,300 miles, on a full tank and charge. A journey from Los Angeles to Seattle and back again with no stops. For the first time, I started thinking differently about hybrids. Not as a compromise, but as a bridge between the old world and the new, delivering range, efficiency, and reduced emissions all in one brilliant package. Blade battery. When safety isn't an option, it's the foundation. We've all seen headlines about EV battery fires. Rare, but terrifying. And they leave a mark on public perception. That's why the Blade battery blew me away. This isn't just a new battery, it's a statement. Made from lithium iron phosphate, LFP, the Blade battery doesn't explode under pressure. It doesn't catch fire when punctured. It doesn't overheat. It survives nail penetration tests, crushing, extreme temperatures, you name it. This isn't theoretical either. BYD has put the Blade battery in thousands of cars already, across all price points. They're not reserving safety for the rich. They're making it standard. It made me wonder, why aren't more companies doing this? And then it hit me. BYD isn't just innovating. They're redefining responsibility. Xuangji and D-Pilot, the smartest car tech you'll ever experience, even if you're not a techie. I'm someone who enjoys the idea of smart cars, but too often, they feel overcomplicated or locked behind pricey upgrades. That's where BYD's Xuangji architecture and D-Pilot system changed my perspective. Named after an ancient Chinese compass, Xuangji is the digital brain of BYD vehicles. It connects every part of the car, from the brakes and motors to the navigation and climate controls, in a seamless real-time network. The result? A car that thinks, adapts, and responds like never before. Pair that with D-Pilot, their intelligent driver assist system, and you get a driving experience that genuinely feels alive. It can center lanes, brake at emergencies, auto park, monitor blind spots, and even predict dangerous behavior, all without needing to pay a monthly subscription. And unlike competitors, these features are baked into models for average drivers, not just luxury ones. As someone who's grown tired of every car tech being paywalled, I found this both refreshing and encouraging. Affordability plus innovation equals mass adoption. Here's where BYD truly wins. You can buy a BYD Dolphin, a compact, all-electric hatchback, stylish, practical EV for under $20,000 in some markets. That's less than half the cost of many Western EVs with similar features. For years, people said EVs were only for the elite. BYD is rewriting that story. Their mission is clear. Make clean, intelligent vehicles accessible to the masses. That means more people switching to hybrids and EVs, more carbon emissions avoided, more families owning safer cars, and more pressure on other automakers to step up. Global expansion, BYD isn't coming. They're already here. When people say China is taking over the EV world, it can sound alarmist. But after seeing BYD's footprint, I can say this. They're not taking over. They're just winning. Europe is seeing BYD vehicles on streets from Oslo to London. Latin America is adopting BYD buses and passenger cars for clean public transit. Southeast Asia is making BYD a household name. Africa is welcoming affordable, durable EV options. Even in the US, BYD is dominating the electric bus sector and laying the groundwork for future consumer entries. And unlike others, BYD isn't relying solely on exports. They're building factories, creating jobs, and developing infrastructure in each market. This is long-term thinking, and it's brilliant. For a while, it seemed like Tesla had no real challenger. That's no longer true. Tesla is still innovative, no doubt. But BYD is catching up fast and in some areas pulling ahead. Tesla focuses on premium performance. BYD is building everything, from premium sedans to budget-friendly city cars to electric buses and monorails. In Q4 2023, BYD outsold Tesla globally in EVs. That wasn't a fluke. It was the start of a new reality. And while Elon Musk tweets, BYD builds. What makes this so personal to me is not just the tech, it's what it represents. This is about how we move through the world, how we breathe cleaner air, how technology can serve humanity, not just shareholders, how entire cities can be transformed with quieter, cleaner, safer vehicles. BYD's reveal isn't just an engineering marvel, it's a hopeful glimpse into a better future. It's easy to look at BYD's rise as just another corporate success story, another name in the ever-growing list of tech-driven disruptors. But that would miss the point entirely. What BYD represents is more than business. It's about empowerment. It's about access. It's about breaking the unwritten rule that cutting-edge technology should only be available to the rich or privileged. When BYD creates a high-efficiency hybrid that gets over 2,000 kilometers of range, they're not just flexing technological muscle. They're giving a rural school teacher in India, a small family in Brazil, or a first-time car owner in Kenya a chance to own something futuristic, clean, and reliable. That's powerful. That's personal. In every major economic transformation, there comes a moment that forces the world to recalibrate. This feels like one of those moments. For decades, the global auto industry has moved at its own pace, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but mostly on its own terms. The shift to electric vehicles was sluggish until Tesla lit a fire under the market. And now, BYD is accelerating that shift at a rate few anticipated. From my vantage point, this isn't just about cars anymore. It's about how countries think about infrastructure, how cities adapt to new forms of transport, and how we define what's possible. Already, countries like Thailand, Brazil, Egypt, and Hungary are investing heavily in BYD facilities and vehicles, not just as customers, but as partners in reshaping national transportation systems. Here's what I admire most about BYD. They're not trying to be flashy. They're not chasing headlines or gimmicks. They're doing something much more radical in today's world. They're sticking to the long game. Where many companies are driven by quarterly earnings and stock price fluctuations, BYD seems focused on long-term change. Their vertical integration ensures they're never at the mercy of supply chain disruptions. Their in-house chip production, battery design, and software development allow for rapid innovation and cost control. And their ability to scale operations globally is something most automakers still haven't figured out. You may not have heard much about BYD before. You may have dismissed Chinese carmakers as copycats or budget brands, but that era is over. After this reveal, one thing is clear: BYD is no longer the underdog. They are the frontrunner. Their vehicles are safer, their engines are more efficient, their prices are unmatched, their software is catching up, and their ambition is global. And this story isn't done, it's just beginning.